Who is it? Pip, Mum. Pip? Pumblechook's boy. Come to play.
Ah, yes. Come here. Let me look at you. Look at me. You're not afraid of a woman who's never seen the sun since you were born?
No, Mum.
Then come closer. Now, I sometimes have sick fancies. And, I have a sick fancy that I want to see some play. So, play. Go on, play. Play.
That's a little clip from Great Expectations featuring Miss Havisham, featuring, of course, the one and only Helena Bonham Carter. Helena, good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Thank you very much indeed for talking to us. How are you today?
I'm pretty okay. How are you?
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'm a little bit tired, but
Baba, why?
I appreciate your concern. Well, mainly my teenage daughter arriving back at 2 o'clock in the morning and banging her bedroom door when she didn't need to.
Bad. How old is the teenage?
19.
19.
What's going on there?
Yeah, well, I have a 4-year-old who came into my bed at about 3 o'clock. Daughter.
It's kind of the same thing.
It is the same.
But not. Hey, the connection, Helena, is that my 19-year-old daughter auditioned for Great Expectations.
Oh, my God.
Opposite
for
Ray,
Estella.
opposite Ray Fiennes, and obviously didn't get it, because otherwise you'd have...
Was that where she banged the door?
You'd have met. Probably, yes, in a fit of pique.
Oh.
So Great Expectations, it's back on the big screen, and it strikes me it hasn't been on the big screen for quite a long time. Would that be right?
There have been a lot of productions over the years. I mean, the one that everyone immediately thinks of is the David Lean. But then somebody said yesterday, we saw Anne Bancroft do it with Gwyneth Paltrow. I can't remember when that was. To be honest, don't ask me, because I don't watch films.
Why don't you watch films?
Because I do like it when I watch them. It's just, it's only because I don't seem to have much time. I'm always too knackered, a bit like you.
Yeah, well,
at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Yeah, you're going to actually... I'd fall asleep through half of it. So then I think, if I'm only going to see, of the first half, I'd rather not watch it at all.
So a glass of wine and Casualty, and then... Then that's it.
Or University Challenge.
Did you bother with...
watching the other ones?
Check. I mean, there have been some notable Miss Havishams. You mentioned David Lean, 1946, Martina Hunt. I mean, did you...
check them out.
Did you look at them? Did you just read the original? I mean, that would seem to be the best thing.
Usually when I'm asked to do something... Well, I tend not to, because I don't really want to repeat what's already been done. Having said that, when Mike first asked me, he thought I was 75 years old. When I'm only 46, I thought, have I missed something? Or have I missed the last 35 years? I'm not actually that old. And then he said, no. If you look at the books, you will find out you are exactly the right age to play Miss Havisham. And indeed, if you look at the book and you do the maths, although it is a bit all over the place, he isn't the best at maths, but he was better at English. She is sort of 45-ish, and then she ends up... She's 27, and then she ends up at about 54. So I thought, so at first I thought, that's a good idea. I mean, it's never been done that before, been done that young. Then I saw that Gillian Anderson was doing it the following week, and she's even younger than me. Yeah, so I thought, never mind that. But I'd said yes to it, so I couldn't really. But originally it was an original idea.
I just wonder why then she's always, she's an old crone. I mean, that's the way she's normally portrayed.
I know. I think it's probably to do with the first illustrator who did her as very old, and then it stuck. And then also the way she's described as an old crone, but it is from a boy's point of view, and it is kind of a fairy tale, which was somewhat what Mike was trying to... Is that me or you?
I think that's you.
Coming to get me? Yeah.
They've stopped outside.
Goodbye.
It's been nice talking to you. Until they come and take you away, we'll just keep going.
Somebody did say that it was happening today. But anyway... So, obviously not next door. But the also thing is that if you remain indoors for 15 years and don't don't go out, and you don't have any sunlight, you will age. I mean, you could try it if you want, but take it from me, you will age.
Because of the lack of
sunlight, you get no vitamin D.
Yes.
In fact, you'd probably have osteoporosis. And in fact, I went down the whole osteoporosis route until I realised that it wouldn't work, because the camera would have to be underneath me, because I'd have such a stoop. it was a tricky part because you'd have to go like, okay, how am I going to do it without looking as if I'm not trying to be older? Because I didn't want to look as if a pantom like somebody who's trying to be older when. But she's definitely aged because in a weird way because she's just been stuck inside all that time.
And just for people, I'm sure people will be going. They'll have seen Miss Havisham. They'll have watched a production of Great Expectations. Just remind us as to why she is the way that she is.
What happened was that she was jilted. She was going to get married, and on the morning of her wedding, at 9:20, she found out in a letter that she was not going to get married, and he jilted her that morning. And her response is to sort of freeze time and stop the clocks at 9:20, and close the shutters, close down, and just remain at her dressing table and wait. In a way, it was interesting. When I first was offered it, I was offered a draft which began with her story, and I thought, oh, this is interesting, never been done before. It's like Miss Havisham. That's why it's called Great Expectations, because she's always waiting. She's waiting for that moment when he's going to come through the door. And apparently Dickens did base it on a real woman in Australia who did wait for 46 years with the door open, waiting for her fiancé to come and marry her.
So she's pretty damaged.
Oh, she's bonkers, and that's what, that's why I wanted to play her, because I love investigating why bonkers people are that bonkers and thinking, like, how on earth did you get to be this bonkers? And not everyone who's jilted, freezes time and never gets out of their wedding dress and closes the world to everybody else. It's a really bonkers pathological response it's a grief response, and so it was interesting getting into that. And there were so many different ideas to play with, and so many different colours to play. And she's a control freak, and she uses the younger generation to sort of, I think in a way the whole story is about the older generation using the younger generation to repair the damage in their lives. Magwitch does it with Pip, and I do it with Estella.
Is it the greatest Dickens book? I mean, David Nichols certainly thinks that it is. It's his all-time favourite book. Would it stand out for you?
I loved it. I mean, I hadn't actually read it until I was asked to be in it, and it's great to be paid to read a Great Expectations. And I don't know if it's. I mean, I think it's always tricky, and I think it's to do something that is so loved by everybody, because you're trespassing on other people's imaginations, and they get very protective. So I know when people see it or not see it, but they'll be like, oh, well, it's not like that, or so and so's not like that. Or it's so you have to be people own it. But for my mind, when I saw it, I thought, no, this is very true to the book. Is when sometimes people deviate plot-wise. It's such a wonderful story, and it also captures the humanity, but it's not too theatrical. It's very accessible. It's very modern. It's very romantic. It's quite sexy, and it makes sense of all the characters. I mean, Estella's always a tough one, but Holiday makes her very understandable and brings a humanity. And Jeremy really carries the whole thing, and he's got the charisma, and Rafe is brilliant. Everybody, and Robbie's amazing.
Yes, so Rafe finds Robbie Coltrane,
Yeah.
and David Walliams, Sally Hawkins, Tamsin Luther. I mean, it's a fantastic cast.
It is a fantastic cast, but Mike's a fantastic director, and I think I love working on it. He's almost Dickensian in just the scale of him. I mean, he's a very tall man, and his energy he's very he's just fizzing with energy, and there's a certain he's just big, bold.
And you said in the past that you'd heard great things about him.
Yeah.
So you hadn't worked with him before?
I'd never worked with him before, but he's so funny. He's just he eats all the time, which I love. So I could barely hear action, because it'd be just like through, okay, action, and it's all sort of, may I cut? Or then just like turn over. All right, for God's sake, don't be boring, all right? It was like very down to earth, and he's a bit like a headmaster or general. But I loved it. He just had so much humour, but also a huge heart, and he was really good with the young actors, and us oldies too.
You're not that old, Helena.
Very old. I'm getting old all the time.
I saw you in Trelawney of the Wells on the West End. Man,
that was a long time ago.
You were quite young then.
I was. Well, I was young once. Yeah, I was always quite young once.
And since then, you've become, you are a goth icon, essentially.
I don't know where the goth thing comes from. I suppose because I don't comb my hair, I've got big hair and I'm pale and I never see the sun. And I'm with Tim, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, I walked about, I don't want this to sound too creepy, I was about 5 steps behind you, walking into a children's Saturday drama production a year or so back. It was one of those, I think one of your kids was in it, one of my kids was in it. It was
Not in Central?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it wasn't actually. We were visiting a friend of Billy's.
All right, okay, so Central School of Speech and Drama. And this was, one of the Potter films had just come out, so I was walking just behind you. And the impact on these children that were in the audience as they saw Bellatrix walk in was, terrifying, brilliant. They wanted to rush up and get your autograph. They were terrified of you because you're an evil old witch.
I know.
Everything was happening all at the same time. But I imagine after a while, you just get used to that.
You get used to, I don't know, you sort of get used, sort of turn a blind eye. I'm quite good at phasing things out. But I do think it's funny that people actually think that I'm evil. Once I walked down Hampstead High Street and somebody actually just screamed. But this was an adult. And I had got the tea.
What did they think was about to happen?
Well, it's just, I don't know. I think they just thought that, So it's good fun, though. It's good fun that they think. I've always wanted to be a witch.
Congratulations on the BFI Fellowship,
Thank you.
Which is what do you get for that? Is that a medal or a cup?
No, it was a good question. That's why I wanted to know.
Do you get?
I got a sort of glass thing.
Cinema?
I'm not really sure what it is.
Cinema pass for the year.
I wish it would be something useful, but it was still an honour. But it's a No, it's not plastic. It's glass, and it's round.
A round glass thing.
Yeah.
A bowl, plate. Type thing, which you can wear. Some listeners' questions here from our Facebook page. Luke Benjamin Coons asks, what is your favourite role, Helena, and do you have any characters you'd like to revisit and do again?
Well, I kind of always want to revisit every part I do, because when I will watch it, then I think, oh no, that's not what I meant at all. Let me do it again. And and definitely when I watched Miss Havisham with it, but there, for instance, there was one idea that I had, which she was like Cinderella, the way Dickens wrote it. She's sort of like steeped in all these fairy tales, and so when she gets the news that she's jilted, she was only putting her shoes on. She only got one shoe on, so when she stops time, she never puts the other shoe on. So I played the whole part with one shoe on, one shoe off. Now Tim said, it just looks as if you're hobbling. I said, no. He says, you're trying to be old, doing old actors. I said, no, it's because the Cinderella thing. Didn't you see that I had one shoe? I said, no, it wasn't clear. And it's just like, oh God, I want to do that again. There's so many things that, you just don't read. And in your head, the most exciting bit is when you're getting all the ideas and you go, I could do this, that, and that, and then you watch and you go like, oh no, I've got to do it again. Didn't get it right. So I think that answers one question. What was the other one?
Well, that was the only question. I have others. You mentioned Tim, who's on the show a couple of weeks ago talking about Frankenweenie, and a listener asked him about James Bond, whether he'd ever been interested in doing a James Bond franchise. His answer was quite intriguing, because it kind of suggested that it had been talked about at some stage. Is that true?
I don't know. I wasn't aware. I think they should ask him.
Tim Burton James Bond film.
Yeah, I think so.
But then
he loves his Bond films.
But you never go to the movies, so you
No,
wouldn't know.
we did actually. No, we went. We went on Sunday with the kids to see Skyfall.
What did you think?
I loved it. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. And I was amazed at my 4-year-old. She was sort of at the beginning. She did it after about 10 minutes of, the great stunt sequence, which I was amazed at. I said, Mum, are we still in the adverts? They've only spent about 40 million already.
Just on that title sequence. What do we see you in next, Helena? Now that you've got the BFI Fellowship, obviously you can choose whichever role that you want to be in and walk into any movie.
No, to be honest, I like getting these awards. That's amazing, but I'd really just like a nice job. And
like in Waitrose or something?
Anything, yeah. But no, I want an acting job. Though I am open to others, but...
So if you haven't got one.
There's no insurance. You get an award. That's no insurance that you're going to get employed again. So what am I going to do? I don't know yet. In all honesty, I'm unemployed.
You should go to the cinema a bit.
Yeah. No, I can now. I've got some free time.
Helena, fantastic to spend some time with you. Thank you very much indeed for talking to us today.
Thank you.